Ladies and gentlemen, what were they doing near the office of Representative Lauren Boebert? So this is Chad Pergram of Fox News, and it's a very, very interesting. He covers Congress for Fox News. A very interesting thread on Twitter. I don't have Twitter. I don't have Facebook. I have my 3 channels, so hit subscribe to all 3. This channel, the Stock Market Crash channel, and the Bitcoin Crash channel. I'll have segments on the other 2 right after this. But here, I'll read you the entire thread. Stephen Colbert team was denied press credentials. Led into Longsworth later in the day by aide to Dem Massachusetts Representative Auchincloss. A little more meat on the bone about the 7 persons associated. By the way, they were all arrested for unlawful entry and trespassing. And there's an active investigation, criminal investigation, and there might be more charges. But the question is, what were they doing near Lauren Boebert's office? There's already been criminal activity leveled at Congresswoman Boebert, where government agencies have had to get involved and protect her from wonderful, highly educated, morally superior, very tolerant people to the left of the political spectrum. But anyway, a little more meat on the bone about the 7 persons associated with the Late Show with Stephen Colbert who were arrested by U.S. Capitol Police for unlawful entry into the Longsworth House office building. By the way, this is within the backdrop, the shadow, the overhanging clouds of a congressional hearing where Democrats and Liz Cheney and Kinzinger are trying to milk and extract every ounce of political utility pertaining to unlawful entry by supporters of Trump. So President Trump was at fault. According to them, he should be indicted on criminal charges. You can't let anyone engage in criminal activity. And is it 100% analogous? No, of course not. But is it basically the exact same criminal charges as 2 years ago in January? Yes. Unlawful entry, trespassing, and we'll see how they are treated. I mean, you couldn't get more hypocritical, but here, these are Democrats, ladies and gentlemen, arrested in our nation's capital and in that revered and storied building that Democrats are accusing Trump of trying to dismantle. But here, Fox has told the team tried weeks ago to get credentials for the hearings. The House Radio TV Gallery rejected the request from the Colbert team out of hand because they are not news. The issue never even went to the Radio TV Correspondents Association, which typically handles credentialing. They didn't even have credentials. In addition to a regular pass, a special overlay is required by press who want to be in the room, etc., for the hearings. That said, the team could be in the office building if they were invited, and in fact they were. Fox has told Colbert team conducted interviews earlier in the day with committee members, Representatives Adam Schiff and Stephanie Murphy, Democrats. They also interviewed Representative Jake Auchincloss, who is not a member of the committee. Police shooed the Colbert team away from the committee area when they were spotted. However, the Colbert group left the House office building at some point. Fox is told they were let back into the Longsworth House building sometime after 4 p.m. by an aide to Auchincloss. The reason, the aide believed the Colbert group had other interviews to do. No. If that congressman was directly at fault, we have to investigate. Oh, Adam Schiff and Murphy and Auchincloss, and this is a grandiose plot to undermine democracy. You see how it sounds? Wonderful, morally superior, highly educated Democrats. And yes, it's not entirely comparable or analogous, of course not. But you're talking about the same criminal charges, the exact same. And they were outside of Lauren Boebert's office, and they were allegedly, according to some reports, banging on doors of Jim Jordan, Kevin McCarthy, and Lauren Boebert. They were arrested outside the offices of Lauren Boebert and charged with unlawful entry. The group apparently then roamed the House office building unattended for hours. Now, do you know if the 7 people had any ties to organizations that are now engaged in criminal activity against Supreme Court justices? No, we don't know that. We don't know, but Democrats and media will not care. And that's the problem. They blame oil companies for price gouging. It's literally the policies of mashed potato brains, our president, who came in and says we're going to do away with fossil fuels. He literally stated we're going to do away with fossil fuels, net zero emissions. We want renewables by this time period. And he told the entire industry, don't invest because we're transforming the American economy. So these oil refineries and drilling takes years and billions of dollars to invest. And oil companies lost tens of billions of dollars 2 years ago. You can't price gouge when your policies as an administration made the price of oil and gas and diesel fuel, that diesel fuel runs transportation and commerce in this country. When your policies make oil and gas and fossil fuels more expensive because you despise fossil fuels and you're literally telling the oil and gas industry that you want to do away with them. And so that's just one example. And then they don't trust the experts in the oil and gas industry. Oh, there are experts saying 14 states and oil and gas associations have sued the administration of Joe Biden. And the experts within those fields have stated that it's 100% his fault. But you don't believe those experts, right? Okay, this is hilarious. Like, well, Robert Reich says differently. Robert Reich is not, the liberal economists, Krugman, right? They're not oil experts. They're not experts in oil. We learned 2 years ago you have to trust the experts. They're not in the oil industry. They don't run oil companies. They don't know how difficult it is to extract fossil fuels or deal with Democrats who want to tank economies and then do away and transform the economy into renewable energy, which we don't have the technology to do, which would be fantastic if we had the technology to do. It's only 10% of the economy. That's just one example of the hypocrisy. Whenever you hear anyone talk about price gouging, they know nothing about just basic economics, and they don't trust the experts within the oil industry because there are experts that work there. And they can tell you exactly what goes on. There are experts in the trucking industry blaming mashed potato brains also. So anyway, the interesting thing is they're all over the place. They move the goalposts all over the place. They're apoplectic and hysterical when it suits them. And they're just, rational and they give you a sober analysis. Well, it's probably... they were just horsing around. It wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't like they were trying to dismantle and go after the vice president. There's no evidence that Trump wanted to go after the vice president. No evidence. If some maniac says something horrendous and you attribute that to Trump, that's just like saying Auchincloss and Murphy and Schiff deliberately allowed these people in there because, well, of course, look, they were allowed in by these 3 congresspeople, and they were roaming around for about 5 hours or so without any credentials or without any authorization. Lord knows what they were doing. Did they get in? Did they get into the offices of Boebert? Who knows? Or Jim Jordan or Murphy, banging on doors. It's sophomoric, yeah, it's juvenile, but also it could be viewed as intimidation. And it could be viewed in a criminal sense. It would definitely have been viewed in a criminal sense if it was Fox News. They would have, they would have painted direct correlation between Fox News and Trump and Rudy Giuliani, and they would make a million different apoplectic leaps of logic. But here, the group apparently roamed the House office building unattended for hours. They were arrested near the office of Representative Lauren Boebert around 8:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and charged with unlawful entry. They were in jail for part of the night before being released Friday. This incident comes days after a committee investigating released a video of Barry Loudermilk giving tours of the House building. They accused him of surveillance tours. The committee and Democrats have portrayed these meetings as surveillance tours. They're just blatantly lying. The side that lies the absolute most, you can say, well, Republicans lie. Yeah, but I don't care about the Republican Party. I like Trump. I like Trump Republicans because they want a better economy and they oppose Lincoln Project foreign policy. This is like the Trump Republicans have more in common with the far left, actually, in many ways, than the far left has with the actual Democratic Party. But that's another story. In an interview with Loudermilk on Wednesday, Georgia Republican said he knew of some people who came to see him, but not all. Another group of people gloomed. Okay, so the committee person... And so that is from a Fox News reporter. And you have to ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, like, it's interesting because Adam Schiff, who is now judging Trump, is now implicated in this in perhaps a tangential manner or perhaps a direct manner. But you have these absurd leaps of logic with Trump. He wanted to undermine and overthrow democracy. It wasn't just like what took place throughout the entire summer that you could link to Democrats. Democrats were literally, 14,000 arrests, property damage, $1 to $2 billion, 19 lives lost according to Wikipedia. And Democrats were actually paying the bail of demonstrators. And so you are promoting chaos and mayhem, even though, I agree the cause was important. I agree with why people were demonstrating in the summer, but not the chaos and mayhem. And so they pick and choose. This is why, if nobody really cared about the congressional committee before, this is even worse for the congressional committee. Now, they're actually blaming Schiff and other Democrats. They're saying, it was authorized and arranged. So authorized and prearranged. But it couldn't have been authorized and prearranged if they were arrested. So hit subscribe to this channel right now. And they were just roaming around for about 5 hours. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now to this channel. Hit subscribe to the stock market crash channel and the Bitcoin crash to 10,000 or lower. That's happening, unfortunately, and I predicted all of it. Ladies and gentlemen. And nobody was talking about this on YouTube. And I wrote about it in the Federalist. And the article is below in the pinned comment and also the description. And also watch the playlist, ladies and gentlemen, predicting all of this in September of 2021. Give me your thoughts. Thank you so very much.